Have you ever wondered what your life will look like as you grow older? Will you still feel like you're in control of your decisions, or will you find others taking the reins for you? These are questions that many of us, especially as we reach a certain age, begin to ponder. They may seem distant now, something for the future, but the reality is this: how you approach aging today directly impacts how empowered you'll feel when those years finally arrive. If you're committed to staying independent, healthy, and in charge of your destiny, this video is exactly what you need. Over the next few minutes, we're going to explore some timeless wisdom that will help you navigate aging with confidence, clarity, and purpose. We'll discuss the aspects of your life that are within your control, from your physical health to your financial security, and how you can make pivotal decisions about where you live, and how to structure your future. Most importantly, we'll cover why it's crucial not to rely solely on others, especially your children, to shape your future. We'll guide you through the process of taking charge of your life today, so you're prepared to live the life you want tomorrow. If you've ever felt anxious or uncertain about aging, or if you've found yourself overwhelmed by the idea of planning for the years ahead, this video is designed to provide you with practical, actionable steps. You'll learn how to maintain emotional and physical independence as you age, how to create and nurture a diverse support network, and why setting healthy boundaries is essential for protecting your mental and emotional health. By the time you finish watching, you'll have a refreshed perspective on aging, one that empowers you to take control and live the life you've always wanted. This isn't just about surviving the later years, it's about thriving in them. So, stay with us until the end to unlock the secrets that will help you not just grow older, but truly flourish in your golden years. Before we jump in, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and clicking the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future videos. Your support means so much to me, and by liking and sharing this video, you can help me spread these valuable lessons to more people. If you like the topic of today's video, please leave a comment with 1. If you think there's something that could be improved, or if you don't quite agree, comment 0, and share how I can make this content even better. Now, let's get started. Number 1. Focus on what you can control. As we move through life, questions about the future naturally start to surface. What will happen when I can no longer take care of myself? Will my children be there when I need them? And perhaps the most overwhelming concern, will I become a burden to them? These are not easy questions to face, and they are understandable. But here's where we can draw strength from ancient wisdom, particularly from Stoic philosophy. One of the most powerful teachings of the Stoics is the concept of the dichotomy of control. The philosopher Epictetus taught us that in life, there are things we can control and things we cannot. While we cannot control how our children will act or the paths their lives will take, we do have full control over how we respond to the challenges life throws at us. Why waste precious energy worrying about things that are beyond our control? As Epictetus wisely said, if you want to be invincible, do not fight against what depends on others. This speaks volumes. Expectations of others, particularly those closest to us, can often lead to frustration. The sooner we accept that we can only control our actions and attitudes, the sooner we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and anxiety. What's under your control? You might be surprised by how much power you have over your future. There are many areas of life where you can shape your destiny, particularly when it comes to your finances and health. For example, ensuring your financial independence as you age is entirely within your hands. Perhaps you've asked yourself some key questions already. Have I saved enough for retirement? Do I have a plan for my financial future? These can feel like overwhelming concerns, but the good news is they are questions you can start addressing right now. It's within your control to manage your financial well-being, whether it's through careful budgeting, saving, or investing for your later years. Your health is another powerful area you can control. As you age, maintaining physical and mental well-being becomes essential. The decisions you make today about staying active, eating healthy, and staying engaged with your healthcare providers will lay the groundwork for how you feel in the years ahead. What choices are you making right now to support your physical health? Are you taking the time to exercise regularly, eat nourishing foods, and schedule those important doctor's appointments? These are all actions that only you can take, and they will not only improve your current quality of life, but they'll also help you face future challenges without relying on others for support. Independence begins with taking care of your body. It's a daily choice to prioritize your health and make those small, positive decisions that add up over time. Decide where to live. There's also the matter of where you want to live as you grow older. The question of where you'll spend your later years is completely under your control. Whether you decide to remain in your home, look for a more accessible living space, or move into a retirement community, the decision is yours to make. Taking control over where and how you live as you age is one of the most empowering choices you can make. Planning gives you the freedom to choose, rather than waiting until circumstances force you into a decision that you're not ready for. Whether you're considering a move or simply adapting your current space to better meet your needs, the key is to make these decisions now, while you're still able to. Too often, we let anxiety about the future overwhelm us, especially when we worry about what others might want or expect. But as the Roman philosopher Seneca once said, the greatest impediment to living is expectancy, which depends on tomorrow and wastes today. How often do we find ourselves consumed by thoughts of what might happen tomorrow or next year, and in the process, miss out on fully enjoying today? The truth is, today is the only moment you have control over. This is why it's so important to focus on what's within your power now, rather than getting lost in what could happen down the road. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. To truly experience a fulfilling and meaningful old age, the first step is straightforward yet profound. Focus on what you can control. By taking charge of your health, finances, and living arrangements today, you can ensure that the life you lead tomorrow is one that you are still in control of. Don't wait for circumstances to force your hand. Take the reins and make those decisions now. Number 2. Don't expect others to make plans for you. Here's an uncomfortable truth that many of us tend to avoid. Sometimes, we let life pass us by, waiting for someone else to step in and make the difficult decisions for us. How many times have you said or thought, "We'll figure it out later," or "My children will know what to do when the time comes"? These are phrases that many of us have used at one point or another. But the truth is, if we don't take control of our future, we risk losing control entirely. And do we want to hand over that power to someone else, even to our children, when it comes to the most important decisions about our lives? Planning for your later years isn't just about gathering wisdom. It's about exercising personal power. Who better than you to decide how you want to live in those years ahead? It may seem easier to trust others to handle things like medical decisions, finances, or even your will, but doing so means giving away control of your destiny. Sure, it's not always comfortable to sit down and think about these things, but taking that action today ensures that you remain the author of your own story. It's an act of personal empowerment that allows you to remain in control of your future, no matter what age you are. Practical part. Start with a will. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "The greatest wealth is to live content with little." But that little doesn't just mean material wealth. It also refers to the peace of mind that comes from having things clear and organized. So, where do you begin? The first step is simple yet crucial. Make a will. If you haven't already, now is the time to take care of this important task. It's easy to think that a will is only necessary if you have a large estate to leave behind. But that's not the case. A will is more than just a list of assets. It's a document that prevents your family from facing legal confusion or chaos if something were to happen to you. You're not just protecting your belongings. You're also making your wishes clear and ensuring that your decisions are respected when you can no longer advocate for yourself. It's not just about material possessions. Your will should also clarify who you trust to make decisions on your behalf in case of an emergency. If you don't have a will, your family might have to guess your preferences or face complicated legal processes. By taking this step now, You ensure that you are in charge of your destiny and that your loved ones won't be left to make difficult decisions in a crisis. Clarify your medical wishes. Next, let's talk about medical decisions. This is one of those topics that makes most of us uncomfortable, but it's incredibly important. You need to clearly outline your medical wishes, and the sooner you do it, the better. Think about what kind of treatments you would or would not want if your health were to deteriorate. These are tough discussions, but imagine how much easier it would be for your family to respect your wishes if they knew them in advance. Having your medical preferences documented now takes a tremendous emotional burden off your loved one's shoulders in the future. Without clear guidance, they could be left to guess what they would want in a time of crisis, and that uncertainty can cause distress and division. By making these decisions now, you spare everyone the stress of making life-altering decisions on your behalf in a moment of panic. Organize your financial well-being. Another essential area that's entirely within your control is organizing your financial well-being. Take a moment to review your savings, investments, and insurance policies. Have you made a plan for your future? If not, now is the time to take action. It's not just about having enough to get by. It's about ensuring that you have the financial freedom to live independently, without having to rely on your children or anyone else. Having an emergency fund or reliable income sources in place means that you won't be a financial burden on your loved ones. This isn't about selfishness. It's about securing your independence. By planning now, you're protecting your future and making sure you're self-sufficient. Your financial security is one of the most empowering aspects of your independence, and it's a choice that only you can make. Decide where to live. Let's talk about something that many of us tend to put off until the very last moment. The question of where you will live as you grow older. Right now, your home may feel like the perfect place to live, and it might very well be. But have you thought about whether it will still meet your needs 5, 10, or even 15 years from now? The reality is that your home may need to evolve with you, and it's important to think about your future options while you still can make decisions. For example, would you like to stay in your current home but modify it to make it more accessible as you age? Simple changes, like adding grab bars, widening doorways, or installing a stair lift, can help make a home much more comfortable and safe as your needs change. Or perhaps you've thought about moving to a new location that offers greater convenience, such as being closer to medical services or a senior community that provides activities and support. Senior communities can offer a wealth of benefits, from social activities to health resources, ensuring that your physical and emotional needs are met as you age. The most important thing is that you make these decisions while you still can. Don't wait until the situation becomes urgent, and don't let circumstances dictate your options. By planning, you keep control over this vital aspect of your life. Whether you decide to stay in your current home or explore new living arrangements, the key is to ensure that the decision comes from you, not from external pressures or emergencies. Seneca's wisdom applied. Now, I understand that this might seem overwhelming at first, but I assure you that once you take these steps to plan for the future, you'll experience a priceless sense of peace of mind. There's a quote from the Roman philosopher Seneca that resonates deeply with this idea. The greatest impediment to living is expectancy, which depends on tomorrow and wastes today. Isn't that the truth? The longer we put off making these decisions, the more energy we waste worrying about the future. We let the idea of tomorrow consume our present, and before we know it, time has passed, and we've missed the opportunity to act. The truth is, tomorrow is never guaranteed. We can't predict what will happen in the next year, let alone 5 or 10 years. The key, then, is to act today. The more you delay making these decisions, the less control you'll have when the time finally comes. Taking control of your future now, and organizing these critical aspects of your life, not only protects your independence but also relieves your loved ones from the burden of having to make difficult choices for you. It's an act of love for both yourself and for them. Plan as a sign of strength. And here's something important to remember. Planning your future is not a sign of weakness, it's an act of strength. Too often, we associate planning with fear or a sense of helplessness. But in truth, it's one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. You're taking the reins of your life, deciding how you want your future to look, and giving yourself the peace of mind to live fully in the present. By making these decisions now, you ensure that your future is shaped by your values and desires. You aren't leaving things up to chance or relying on others to decide for you. You're showing yourself the respect you deserve by taking the time to plan for your independence and well-being. This level of foresight allows you to live with greater confidence and serenity today, knowing that you're actively creating the future you want. Number 3. Surround yourself with more than just family. As we age, many of us naturally turn to our family, especially our children, as our primary support system. We want them to be there, to share important moments, to offer help when we need it most. And it's perfectly natural to desire this connection. However, putting all our expectations on them can often lead to frustration. Not because they don't love us, but because their lives are full of their commitments, challenges, and sometimes even geographical distance. Children grow up, establish their own families, and face their responsibilities, which may not always align with our needs. This is where an important lesson comes into play. Diversify your relationships. Don't place all your emotional energy and support in a single source. While family is undoubtedly important, it's vital to expand your support network. Building relationships with friends, neighbors, and community members can be one of the most enriching decisions you make in this stage of life. It's about creating a web of support, ensuring that when one relationship doesn't meet your needs, there are others to turn to. Building a broader network. Now, I know that the idea of building a broader social circle may feel overwhelming, especially as we age. Making new friends or finding new connections can seem like a daunting task. It can feel like we no longer have the energy or the willingness to seek out new relationships. But that's a misconception. One of your greatest strengths as you age is your wealth of life experience. Friendships forged later in life tend to have a deeper, more meaningful quality to them. When we were younger, friendships were often based on shared interests and proximity. As we get older, those connections evolve into something much richer, ones rooted in mutual respect, understanding, and shared wisdom. Marcus Aurelius' insight. I was reminded of a powerful thought from the Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius. What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee. This concept resonates because it underscores an important truth. We are not meant to live in isolation. Our relationships, beyond just our family ties, contribute to our well-being, and they also benefit the broader community. By building these connections, we not only enrich our own lives, but also help strengthen the communities we're a part of. So, here's the practical advice. Start opening yourself up to new social experiences. And it doesn't have to be anything grand or complicated. Small steps, like joining a local book club, attending yoga classes, or getting involved in volunteer work, can help you form new connections. If you enjoy walking in the mornings, consider joining a walking group. If crafts are your passion, look for workshops or meetups where you can share your skills and learn from others. The key is to break free from your usual routine and open yourself up to new possibilities for connection. Strengthening neighborhood ties. Another way to broaden your network is to strengthen the relationships you already have, especially with your neighbors. You might have lived in the same neighborhood for years and never really gotten to know the people around you. Take some time to engage with them. A simple conversation, offering help when needed, or even just saying hello can lead to unexpected friendships. You'd be surprised how many people in your neighborhood may be seeking the same thing you are. Someone to share time with, someone who understands what it means to age and navigate life's challenges. You don't need to wait for these relationships to come to you. You can take the first step in reaching out. Reconnect with old friends and relatives. It's also a great time to reconnect with old friends and distant relatives. Often, we take these relationships for granted, assuming that they will always be there when we need them. But many times, life gets busy, and we lose touch with people who matter. Reaching out to those you haven't spoken to in a while can breathe new life into these connections. You may find that you've missed more than just their company. You've missed a crucial support system. It's essential to remember that nurturing these relationships isn't about abandoning your children or relying solely on them. It's about creating a support network that goes beyond family. That way, when your children aren't physically close or able to provide support, you won't feel isolated. Instead, you'll be surrounded by a community of people who have your back. Emotional independence. Emotional independence is just as important as physical independence. We mustn't rely solely on our children, or any single person, for our emotional well-being. By diversifying our relationships, we create a broader sense of belonging. This reduces our vulnerability and ensures that the emotional weight of our aging doesn't fall solely on one or two people. When we nurture a strong, diverse support network, we feel more connected, more supported, and ultimately more resilient. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "What is good for the community is good for the bee." By surrounding yourself with people who support you, who challenge you, and who make you feel connected to something larger than yourself, you not only enhance your own life but also contribute to the vitality of the community around you. This web of support is invaluable, not just for your well-being, but for the well-being of those around you. Number 4. Maintain control of your life. Let me share a story about a man named Jack, a 70-year-old who had always prided himself on being fiercely independent. Jack had worked hard throughout his life and raised a family, and when retirement came, he fully intended to continue making his own decisions as he always had. But as time went on, the reality of aging began to weigh on him more than he had anticipated. That's when his children, with all the best intentions, started stepping in. It began innocently enough. Simple calls to ask if he had seen the doctor recently, a suggestion about a new health insurance plan, and even recommendations about what he should do with his house. At first, Jack appreciated their concern. But gradually, he began to notice that his decisions were no longer truly his own. Each time he made a decision, his children had something to say. Eventually, Jack started giving in, just to avoid conflict. What had begun as small suggestions slowly grew into a pattern where other people, his children, even his well-meaning neighbors, were dictating important aspects of his life. One day, Jack woke up, looked around, and felt like a stranger in his own home. It was as if he no longer had control over what he could or could not do with his own life. The commonality of Jack's story. Jack's story isn't unique. It's far more common than you might think. So many of us, often with the best of intentions, allow others to make decisions for us, especially our children. It's a gradual, almost imperceptible process. Before we even realize it, we've ceded control of our lives without meaning to. It's not because we cannot make decisions. It's because, out of love or convenience, we start letting others take charge. But I want to tell you something. Independence isn't determined by age, it's determined by attitude. Maintaining control over your life, your decisions, and your desires is crucial to living a full and meaningful life, especially as you grow older. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius said it best. Nothing is more worthy of admiration than seeing a person who masters their destiny. This is the lesson for today. Continue to be the author of your own story, even when others around you may want to intervene. Jack takes control. Let's return to Jack. There was one specific moment when Jack realized what was happening. It occurred during a conversation with his children, when they, without consulting him, suggested that it was time for him to sell his house and move to a smaller, more manageable space. For his children, it seemed like a logical and practical decision. But for Jack, it felt like a punch to the gut. His home wasn't just 4 walls and a roof. It was the place where he had spent years building a life, creating memories, and raising his family. In that instant, Jack knew something had to change. He realized he had to set a boundary. That very day, he called his children and explained, calmly but firmly, that while he appreciated their concern, the decisions about his life would remain his own. It wasn't an easy conversation, of course. His children, understandably, didn't fully grasp what was at stake, thinking that Jack was merely being stubborn. But Jack made it clear that it wasn't pride, it was autonomy, a fundamental human need. The ability to make decisions about one's own life, especially in old age, is about dignity. The reality of autonomy. This isn't just a story with a neat little moral at the end. It's a reality that many people face, whether we want to admit it or not. Eventually, someone, likely with the best intentions, will want to take control of your life. It's easy to give in, to let others steer the ship, especially when they think they know what's best for you. But remember this, as long as you can make decisions, those decisions must remain yours. Control over your life isn't something that is simply handed to you or taken away when you reach a certain age. It's something you must fight for, protect, and maintain. Not through conflict or aggression, but through the quiet understanding that, at the end of the day, you are the one who knows what makes you happy, what gives you peace, and what allows you to live fully. Jack's resolution. Let's return to Jack once more. After that important conversation with his children, things didn't change overnight. There was discomfort, there were disagreements, but slowly, over time, his children began to understand that what Jack was asking for wasn't about convenience. It was about preserving his dignity. Jack wasn't opposed to receiving help when he needed it, but he was making it clear that the final decision would always be his. And that's a lesson we can all apply to our own lives. Maintaining control over our decisions, big or small, is essential for our emotional well-being. Whether it's deciding where to live, how to spend your time, or how to organize your day, these small decisions keep you connected with your true self. Growing older doesn't mean surrendering your ability to make choices. You can still be the captain of your ship, no matter how many years you've sailed. Encouragement to take control. I encourage you to keep going with this mindset because the most enlightening parts of this journey are yet to come. And if you're truly committed to finding balance and living this stage of life with wisdom, I have one final reflection that can truly change your perspective. But before I leave you with that, I'd love to know, where are you listening to me from? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Number 5. Learn to say no. Let's take a moment to imagine something. Your life is a garden. Every decision you make, every relationship you nurture, every commitment you accept is like a plant in that garden. Over time, your garden grows. But if you fill it with too many things, too many commitments, too many expectations from others, too many responsibilities, it will quickly become overcrowded. What could have been a peaceful, flourishing space becomes chaotic, where nothing can grow strong or truly thrive. And here's the key lesson. Learning to say no is the necessary pruning to keep that garden in balance. Sometimes, with the best of intentions, our family members, especially our children, try to fill our garden with their ideas, decisions, or even responsibilities. Dad, you should try this. Mom, it's better if you move to a smaller place. Let us take care of that for you. At first, these suggestions seem harmless, even kind. It might feel easier to just say yes, to go along with what others propose. But what starts as small favors or well-intentioned suggestions can slowly begin to strip away your control over your own life. Before you know it, the garden that was once yours is being filled with others' plants and ideas, leaving you with little room for what truly matters to you. Saying no as self-protection. Saying no doesn't mean rejecting love or support. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about protecting your living space, your desires, and your ability to make decisions that align with your well-being. Saying no is an act of self-affirmation. It's about respecting yourself enough to set boundaries, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. As the writer Anais Nin once said, how we spend our days is of course how we spend our lives. Every time you say yes to something you don't truly want or need, you're giving away a part of your day, and ultimately, a part of your life. Saying no is not selfish. It's an act of discernment. It's choosing what truly matters to you, rather than simply saying yes out of obligation. When you say no, you're not rejecting people. You're setting clear boundaries that allow you to prioritize your own mental and emotional health. This is a form of respect, not just for yourself, but for those around you. Healthy relationships are built on respect, and boundaries are the foundation of those relationships, whether with your children, friends, or anyone else. The door metaphor. Imagine saying no as if it were a door that you can open and close as you see fit. When you close that door, you're protecting your inner peace. But remember, you're not locking it forever. You simply use it to filter what enters your life. Saying no is a tool that allows you to choose what is truly worth your time and energy, and what doesn't fit with your needs. Paulo Coelho, the celebrated novelist, once said, "When you say yes to others, make sure you are not saying no to yourself." That's a powerful statement. The true act of self-love often comes from setting those boundaries, saying no without guilt or fear of hurting others' feelings. It's not about shutting people out. It's about prioritizing your well-being. Saying no creates the space you need to continue being yourself, to continue owning your life, and to remain the author of your own story. By saying no, you give yourself the freedom to choose what you want and need, not just what others expect from you. Embracing the power of no. By learning to say no, you take back control of your life. You preserve your energy for the things that truly matter, for the relationships that enrich your life, and for the activities that bring you joy. Saying no is a form of self-care. It's about making space for what you truly want, and by doing so, you allow yourself to live a life that is more aligned with your desires and values. Don't be afraid to say no. It's a tool of empowerment, not a sign of weakness. When you take the time to prune your garden, you create the space for new growth, for new experiences, and for the life you truly deserve. Number 6. Adapt your environment, not your spirit. As we age, our bodies naturally go through changes. It's a truth we can't escape, no matter how healthy or active we try to stay. While we can certainly work to maintain our fitness and health, we all face certain physical limitations as the years go by. But here's something truly important to remember. Although our bodies change, our spirit, our will to live fully, and our ability to choose how we live need not adapt to those changes. What should change is not your essence, but your environment. Take a moment to reflect on this. Rather than forcing yourself to accept discomforts and challenges because of physical limitations, what if you could adapt your environment to serve you instead? It might sound like a small idea at first, but it's incredibly powerful. Your surroundings, your home, your community, the spaces you inhabit, should be designed to support you, not to challenge you. By making thoughtful adjustments to your environment, you free yourself from the struggle of constantly adapting to it. Gaining freedom through adaptation. This isn't about giving up your independence. It's about gaining more freedom. A simple change in your home, like adding railings to the stairs, adjusting the height of your furniture, or reorganizing your kitchen so that everything is easier to access, can make all the difference. Think of these changes as tuning an instrument. Each adjustment brings harmony back into your life without you having to fight against a world that no longer suits your needs. It's about creating an environment that works for you, not one that you have to constantly adapt to. Let's use a different metaphor. Imagine you're a ship at sea. The waters are growing rough, the winds are changing, and the tide is turning against you. Instead of abandoning the ship, what if you simply adjusted the sails? You're not giving up on the journey. You're simply making the necessary adjustments to keep moving forward as comfortably and safely as possible. The boat still belongs to you, and the destination is still yours to choose. In this same way, adapting to your environment ensures that you continue your life's voyage without having to fight against challenges that can be mitigated by simple changes. Designing your living space. There's something profoundly liberating about accepting that changes in your environment are not only natural but necessary. It's not about losing power or surrendering your independence. It's about gaining comfort, control, and ultimately peace. Winston Churchill once famously said, "We shape our buildings. Thereafter, they shape us." This quote holds especially true as we age. The space you live in directly affects how you feel, how you move through your day, and how you enjoy your life. If the space around you supports you, if it's designed to make your life easier rather than more complicated, you will feel more capable and more empowered to continue doing what you love. Changing your environment doesn't mean changing who you are. It's not about giving up your sense of self or your autonomy. It's about being wise enough to adjust the space you live in so that it aligns with your current needs. You are not surrendering. You're making a smart, thoughtful adaptation to keep your life running smoothly and comfortably. It's intelligent adaptation, a recognition that as we age, it's okay to modify our surroundings to continue thriving. Adapting your environment is one of the most empowering decisions you can make. It's about giving yourself the freedom to live life on your terms, without the constant struggle against the limitations that naturally come with aging. So, don't be afraid to make changes, whether it's in your home, your routine, or your community, that will allow you to continue living the life you want. Your spirit remains strong and unwavering, and now, your environment can finally match that strength. Number 7. Live in the present, not tomorrow. The final lesson we're going to explore is perhaps the simplest yet also the most profound. Live in the present, not tomorrow. It's easy to get caught up in worrying about the future. We've all done it. We spend so much time thinking about what will happen tomorrow, in 10 years, or how things will look when we're older. Will our children be there when we need them? Will our health hold up? While it's natural to think ahead, this kind of constant worrying can rob us of the peace we can experience today. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, was blunt in his wisdom. The greatest impediment to living is expectancy, which depends on tomorrow and wastes today. How true this is. How many times have you found yourself consumed by thoughts of what might happen in the future, only to have the present moment slip away unnoticed? Embracing the present. The key here isn't to forget the future entirely, but rather to learn how to embrace the present. The present moment is the only one you truly control, and it's where life happens. You have the ability right now to enjoy simple pleasures, whether it's savoring a peaceful meal, sharing a laugh with a friend, or finally reading that book that's been gathering dust on your shelf. When we get trapped in worries about tomorrow, these small joys of daily life go unnoticed, and before we know it, the day has passed without us truly living it. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. One of the most effective ways to practice living in the present is by embracing gratitude. It may sound simple, but taking just a few minutes each day to acknowledge what you have right now can completely change your perspective. We often focus on what might be missing in the future, but we forget about all that we already have today. Each day, think of 3 things you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be anything grand. Maybe it's something as small as waking up without pain or hearing your neighbor greet you with a smile. These moments are valuable because they belong to today. Recognizing them brings you back into the present and helps you appreciate what you have in this very moment. Staying present through mindfulness. Another powerful way to stay present is through mindfulness. This involves focusing fully on what you're doing right now. When you're talking with someone, be present in that conversation. Don't let your mind wander to what you need to do next. If you're cooking, savor the process, the aroma of the food, the colors, the textures. Life isn't made up of big events we anxiously await, but rather in the small, everyday moments we often overlook. Living in the present also involves letting go of the constant anticipation of problems that may never arise. How many times have we worried about things that never happened? Marcus Aurelius, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, said, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't be harmed." When we worry too much about what might go wrong, we end up robbing ourselves of the peace of the present. Sometimes, we harm ourselves more with our fears of what hasn't yet happened than with anything that is occurring in our lives. Accepting the present moment. living in the present is not about ignoring the future. It's about accepting that the only moment you truly have is now. Tomorrow will come, as it always does, but it doesn't have to dictate how you live today. So, the next time your mind starts drifting toward uncertain futures, pause for a moment and come back to the present. Breathe. Be grateful. Enjoy this moment. Remember, old age is not about surrendering. It's about transformation. It's about how we respond to the challenges and opportunities we face each day. As we've explored in these lessons, the invitation is clear: take the reins of your life. Don't let anyone, even your closest loved ones, define who you are or how you should live. You are the only one who knows what you need to feel fulfilled, independent, and at peace. Life is made up of small moments and decisions, seemingly insignificant, yet these are the choices that ultimately define the quality of our days. Today, you have the power to shape your future, to create a purposeful old age. It's not about how much time you have, but how you choose to live it. Final thoughts and call to action. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Every decision, every boundary you set, and every adjustment you make to your environment is an affirmation of your right to a dignified, peaceful, and purposeful life. Choose to live today, fully present and with intention, and watch how it transforms your future. So, what have you learned from today's video? We've explored some powerful concepts about aging gracefully, maintaining independence, and living life on your terms. From focusing on what you can control to learning to say no, adapting to your environment, and embracing the present moment, these lessons are designed to help you take charge of your life and live it with intention. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned today that you're going to start practicing in your own life? It could be anything, from setting healthier boundaries, focusing more on the present, or making decisions about your future living situation. Whatever it is, I encourage you to share it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more valuable content like this. Your support helps us continue to spread wisdom and encouragement for a happier, more fulfilling life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.